Carl Cederström, The Happiness Fantasy. In The Happiness Fantasy, Carl Cederström takes an insightful journey through the history and construct of the happiness fantasy, a cultural template that promises the good life through self-actualization, authenticity, and pleasure-seeking. Tracing its roots to the ideas of Austrian psychoanalyst Wilhelm Reich, the book explores the evolution of this concept and its impact on society. Touching upon the countercultural movements of the 1960s and 1970s, the human potential movement, and the commercialization of happiness, the happiness fantasy challenges and unravels the idealized notion of living the good life.
The Happiness Fantasy Blueprint. The happiness fantasy presents a pre-made blueprint for living a meaningful life. This blueprint revolves around the concept of self-actualization, which involves shedding the inauthentic external self to reveal the true inner self. By gratifying our inner capabilities and desires, we become authentic and experience pleasure, thus achieving a good life. The origins of the happiness fantasy. The story of Austrian psychoanalyst Wilhelm Reich's obsession with sexuality and his life's work, which influenced the happiness ideology widely adopted during the 60s and 70s in California. Reich developed a psychological theory around orgastic potency and the full orgasm. His abrasive personality and heterodox views led to his expulsion from the Vienna Psychoanalytic Society and other psychoanalytic associations across Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. Reich emigrated to the east coast of the United States and invented the orgone accumulator, a person-sized wooden box that he claimed to capture and concentrate orgone energy with miraculous healing properties. Despite the U.S. Food and Drug Administration not believing his claims, Reich's theories lived on, and his work inspired the philosophy of happiness widely adopted during the countercultural movements of the 60s and 70s in California. Reich's influential ideas. The book discusses the ideas of Wilhelm Reich, whose views on sexual and political liberation inspired counterculture movements like the hipsters and hippies. Reich believed that the family and state were oppressive, as they demanded obedience and discouraged people from pursuing their desires for authentic pleasure, including through orgasmic sex. He saw sexual and political liberation as intertwined, and his ideas deeply resonated with the countercultural movements of the 1940s and 1950s. Reich's work was rooted in anti-authoritarianism, and his focus on pleasure as a key to individual freedom and societal change continues to inspire progressive thinkers today. The Evolution of Counterculture. The book explores the evolution of counterculture from Henry Miller's residence in Big Sur to the popularity of the Esalen Institute, which became the hub for the human potential movement. The author discusses the increasing interest in uninhibited sexuality, banned books, anarchistic politics, and drug-induced mysticism by those who followed Miller to Big Sur. The Institute, founded by Michael Murphy and Richard Price, attracted luminaries such as philosopher Alan Watts, psychologists Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers, writer Aldous Huxley, and psychiatrist Fritz Perls. Perls was a disciple of Wilhelm Reich and considered the most influential member of the human potential movement, which cooked up ideas of the happiness fantasy. Perls' Gestalt therapy. Fritz Perls developed Gestalt therapy, where life is likened to a theatrical production, and each person has a role to play. The therapy aimed to make people realize that they're adhering to scripts others wrote for them and encourage them to take control of their performance. During his workshops at the Esalen Institute, Perls had patients sit on the hot seat, where they would express their dreams and act out the characters in them, aiming to break through their psychological armor and find their inner selves. The ultimate objective of Gestalt therapy was self-development or self-actualization, and it gained popularity in the 1960s and 1970s as self-development training centers sprouted in the U.S. The rise of Werner Erhard. Werner Erhard, born John Paul Rosenberg, saw an opportunity to capitalize on the human potential movement that was taking place in San Francisco during the late 1960s and early 1970s. He founded an organization called Erhard Seminar Training, EST, and offered a simple message that mixed workshop methods from Fritz Perls, fused Western and Eastern psychology from Alan Watts, and self-help books from the 1930s, to achieve material success. The results yielded significant influence, with over 700,000 people attending Erhard's training programs over the next 2 decades. Erhard's intense methods. The book reveals the extreme methods used by Werner Erhard in his training seminars to break through the psychological armor of his participants. The physically and emotionally grueling seminars lasted up to 19 hours with no eating or getting up from chairs. Verbal abuse and intense emotional experiences were used to puncture their armor and reveal their untapped potential. Erhard's philosophy centered on the idea that anyone can succeed, but this message had a dark side. The problematic logic of personal responsibility. The pervasive belief in personal responsibility championed by celebrities like Oprah Winfrey has troubling implications for society's most vulnerable. The idea that individual effort alone determines success or failure has deep roots in Western culture. While this concept may have some merit in inspiring personal growth and motivation, its problematic implications cannot be ignored. This belief, championed by celebs like Oprah Winfrey, not only overlooks systemic barriers to success but also places undue blame on individuals who face insurmountable challenges. Werner Erhard, a self-help guru and founder of Landmark Worldwide, formerly Est, took this logic to an extreme by stating that victims of rape, cancer, and even the Holocaust were responsible for their suffering. Despite this controversial stance, many celebrities flock to his training programs, including Oprah herself. Oprah's media empire promotes a message that aligns closely with Erhard's teachings: individuals must abandon their victim mentality and embrace their inner power to achieve success. While the intention may be to guide people towards hope and empowerment, this thinking neglects to address deeper societal issues and creates a lack of compassion towards disadvantaged individuals. The view that personal responsibility is the deciding factor in one's life situation allows people to dismiss the idea of systemic inequality and assume that all individuals are simply not working hard enough. This gives way to a dangerous mentality that blames victims for their struggles rather than seeking to understand and address complex social problems. Despite the troubling implications of this belief, Landmark Worldwide continues to attract major corporations and individuals seeking personal transformation. The commercialization of self-development. The transformation of Werner Erhard's self-development organization from Est to Forum to Landmark Worldwide mirrored a larger shift in the human potential movement towards commercialization. As the movement moved from a small group of bohemians to a mainstream middle-class American audience, it underwent a transformation from left-wing political proclivities to a focus on material success within the capitalist economic system. This individualistic outlook increasingly appealed to corporate leaders, leading to the incorporation of self-development training programs into corporate culture. Ultimately, the commercialization of the human potential movement transformed both the movement and the corporate world into each other's image. The rise of corporate self-actualization. In the 1970s, American corporations faced a dilemma as employees' wages remained the same while their working hours increased. To retain their employees and maintain their bottom lines, corporations turned to co-opting them with the values of the human potential movement. The younger workforce valued authenticity, freedom, and revolution, which were the opposite of corporate bureaucracy. The corporations chose to pretend to give them these values instead of better wages and working conditions. Today, self-actualization has become a part of corporate culture, and companies like Zappos actively encourage employees to express their individuality and pursue pleasure. However, this pursuit of fun and weirdness could have problematic consequences. The myth of work-life integration. Zappos' amusement-filled workplace is an attempt to integrate work and life, erasing the boundary between the two. However, this integration has resulted in non-stop activity, leading to a contradictory pursuit of happiness. The author argues that the pursuit of self-actualization for personal growth and the pursuit of career for financial success have conflicting demands, making the happiness fantasy unattainable in today's competitive job market.
In conclusion, the happiness fantasy unveils the fragile foundation and contradictions of the happiness fantasy, an idea deeply ingrained in contemporary culture. Weaving history with social commentary, Cederström exposes the evolution of happiness concepts from their roots in Wilhelm Reich's work to their commercial adoption through human potential movements and the corporate landscape. By dissecting the interplay between individualism, self-actualization, and the pressure to march to the beat of the market, the book raises questions about the true meaning of happiness and its relevance in an increasingly unstable and competitive job market. The happiness fantasy ultimately sheds light on the unsustainable nature of the happiness template that commonly permeates our lives.